Hey, guess what? It's here. Miss, I needed you. They kept you for so long. It's been 3 days. You guys ready? Let's do this. Okay, so of course we probably won't be able to get this all done in one video just because it's nearing the end of the day and I really don't want to film it in the dark for you guys. So we are going to start though. And then the first thing we got to do to start is we got to get the car jacked up on some jack stands. We're going to do the front end first and then we're going to move to the rear end. I'm going to get the jack stands because we're going to be underneath the car and we got to get our safety going on and then we're going to start wrenching on some things. But I'm not going to tell you everything beforehand. You're just going to watch it with me. Okay, let's do this. At the moment, I have the jack stands under here. I don't want them on a suspension component because I will need to be able to drop the A-arm down so I can get that strut out. So I actually put them right underneath the actual frame rail on the skid plate where the mounting bolts are right there. Don't criticize me if that's not what I'm supposed to do. I feel comfortable right there. It looks pretty stable. So we're now going to take the wheels rest of the way off. I'm gonna open up the hood and then we're gonna keep on moving on. The suspension here looks ancient. What I'm gonna start off by doing is actually removing these sway bar end links here. So I'm gonna remove that there. Here, actually, why am I? Yes, because we do. I almost said we don't need to, but we do because we're changing it out. So we're gonna remove the one down there and the one up here. We're gonna do it on both sides real quick. Okay, that there is a 16. I'm gonna actually try to use a socket on it and see if that works with my impact. So that actually did not work because it wants to spin from the back, and when there's a groove on the back of the side of that. See, this style has an Allen key in the center of it. The style on there actually has grooves right here and right here where you can put an open end wrench on. So we're gonna have to find the size of that. Okay, for the bottom one, we put our wrench right here. You can see it's holding onto that area. I don't know if I can get my impact back here. I don't believe so. I cannot. So we're gonna have to wrench it by hand. Just like that, we now have sway bar out. Now to do the passenger side. See if the impact will take it off by itself, but I highly doubt it. Needs to be held on by the back. Oh. Wow, I moved y'all. I got the 18 back there. Now I'm gonna get the impact. And I got that off. Now we're gonna grab our 17 and our wrench for the bottom one. I'm gonna actually kick this with my foot for a second from the front of the car. There we go, that did the trick. Oh. Cool. There it is. The next thing I'm going to do is actually take these 3 bolts off here so we can drop this strut down, and then that way we can get down into here and take that bolt off and slide this puppy out. So those look to be a 13. 13 they are, so let's get our impact and we will take these off. there it is, chilling up there. And what I'm gonna do now is I'm going to loosen up this bolt right here, the bolt and nut on both sides. It's a 16 on both sides. So I'm gonna use a closed end wrench on this side, and I'm gonna try to impact off the other side. So let me get my tripod for y'all. All these aluminum parts. Now all those wires are out. That was part of that bracket. Let's spray some WD-40 in there, into that crevice, and see if that'll help it loosen up. I'm gonna see if I can tap up with this. So I was trying something out, and then we led to here, and you're probably really confused as to what's going on right now and how I got this out. So luckily I can show you on the other side. But basically what had happened, I knocked this all the way up and realized there's not enough space to take it out of the car. I also took this little lever off down there. You need a 10mm wrench to disconnect this little sensor from the control arm that normally plugs in right down there. So use a 10mm wrench and 10mm socket on this side. And that way you're not stressing this guy out, because they wanted to start pulling this bracket down, and I was like, no, 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 we don't want to do that. And now we're actually gonna take this out, because I got it all the way out, but there wasn't enough space to actually pull it out of there. So now that it's out here, and I was extremely careful and didn't hurt my fender whatsoever, thank God, we can now get this out of the sleeve. Orange hammer, because it did so good at that. There we go. Look who's out. There's slack on our brake line. I assure you it's just on the control arms. Let me show you guys how to do the other side before I assemble this, so you can see what's going on. That looks like death right now. I will show you how we did that, so that way we can follow along on reassembly. First thing I want to do here is get some WD-40 up here in the crevice. That way we can let that start soaking. Now I'm gonna loosen up and take off that 16mm bolt that goes right through the clevis there, and then we're going to take off the bolts up here. I apologize about this lighting, by the way. The sun is not helping us whatsoever. First thing we're gonna do is put our 16 on our strut nut, as I call it here, just like that, and then drop it. Don't drop it. Push these wires back so those come out. See, that's a little clip right there? That right there slides out. The bolt goes through that hole. Now I'm gonna drop these up here, like we did on the other side. Perfect. It only goes like just a tad down. I'm just gonna tap this a tad on here so I can make sure it moves. Okay, so it moved. We are going to take this out. You gotta be really careful not to hit this fender with a bolt. Okay, just like that. Look at this. See how close that goes? There she goes. The microphone's there the wrong way. I'm getting used to this stuff. Here's a little comparison of the BCs compared to stock. Always keep in mind as well, you have the pin there that needs to go between the clamp right here. It needs to go right inside that. They are labeled, so this is the front left. The other one says FR for front right. To make this a little bit easier, I'm going to put this in down here. Oh wow, that goes right in there. Push this into the holes up there of where it's supposed to be. Get some thread start on the top, get the bottom tightened up. Remember when lifting this up to get to your guys' level, make sure your camber plates are set the correct way so that they can camber in and out. I have seen people before turn their camber plates like front and rear. I'm like, well, now you can adjust caster, but I don't think that's what you were really supposed to do. So we're gonna make sure our camber plates are lined up, and I'm going to slowly just jack this up just enough so I can get the bolt holes to go up through the top here. Just like that. No pressure, guys. There's no weight on this. It's just holding gravity up. All I'm doing now is just putting our top aluminum strut bolts back on. Now we are going to tighten up the 16mm back here, this little dude back here, and get that all tightened up. I'm gonna go over to the passenger side and do the exact same thing we just did over here with getting the cylinder, the strut in. We're actually gonna touch this back into the control arm. There's a little sensor here. And then we put this one over here. The tripod wouldn't fit in here, so we tighten that up. Now it's time to get our sway bar end links so that we can put it in here on this side up there and the one down here. Remember, we're using the new ones now that BC Racing has sent us. Okay, my friends, we have our sway bar on. It's in there. It's right there. That was fun. It was kind of a weird angle. You have to really kind of push some force with your fingers to turn it. I decided, guys, we got this thing to go low, right? So I turned this 10 rotations. I make a little scratch on each ring. That way you can use a marker if you want to use a scratch. I don't mind it. It's so that I can always keep track of how many rings compared to the other side, how many turns. So I turned it down 10 turns. So it is higher up. So we're gonna see, I would rather say start out low and then see where you end up. If you have to raise back up, we got them to be low, so why not? So now we're gonna go and put the sway bar end link over on the other side, and then we get to put the wheels on and see what this is doing, which is gonna be cool because we have to adjust our camber as well. Hopefully we don't smash our fender, so we gotta be very careful with that. Let's do a little recap. We took the struts out from the front, the original struts, which are there, and we now put our BCs in. We've tightened our sway bar link up, we tightened the little clevis bolt, I don't even know what to call it, down at the cylinder strut down there. We tightened that one back up, the 16. We tightened all of our 13s on the top, which I do use an impact to start them out and go towards the bottom, but I hand torque them. I have a torque wrench, but it's way too large for this size. So I'm one of those that once it goes tight and then a quarter turn, no, that's really bad. I'm sorry, okay? I'm just like an old school mechanic. Then we were able to get the sway bar end links on, and now we have both sides at 10 turns in, and everything is tightened up. We have not adjusted camber because we're gonna see where that's at, but we are at the stage where we actually get to put our wheels on and see how crazy this is. If it already looks low when I was putting the wheel on, I'm kind of scared because that means it's gonna be really dropped, and hopefully I can still get my jack out of the car. Usually I would show you guys putting the other side together. I'm gonna go do that myself real quick, put that other wheel on. That way I can save some battery for us to be able to get this car back down on the ground. So stay tuned for that. Y'all, the car is still in the air. Oh, it looks so good. This is where it sits currently. Wow. Needs to still play with some camber, which I'm actually glad that it's not as bad because I may have to get this big of a spacer because currently the tire is rubbing on the coil. So we will get back to that. It's getting dark, so I'm gonna clean up and we're gonna get back to this tomorrow. What is going on, everyone? It is Devin, day 2 on the BMW suspension install. Now, I bought a S2000K car back there. I'm just kidding. It's Fabio again. He's here with me again. Hey! This is what it looks like in daylight right now. It looks super freaking cool. I am really, I'm so excited about it. And then the rear are going to get their suspension today, which shouldn't be too hard. The tire is rubbing on the spring barely, so I did have to get a 5mm spacer. Just because the 275s are so wide on the top within here that they just barely, well, look at the picture right here. They barely rub on the spring. So I'm starting with a 5 because I don't want to go a full 10 because this is very flush already. And I'm gonna have to camber in just a little bit. And we'll see if that gives me enough clearance. Otherwise it might have to be raised up a little bit, or we'll figure something out. Or if we can squeeze a 10 in there, we'll do something. I know I really didn't want to do spacers, guys, but I really like the setup and I really want to make it work. So for now, with the BCs, we're gonna make it work until we find better coils to do that, where we don't have to worry about that issue. It'd be worse if I had bags and we were rubbing on the bag. You'd be like, oh, wow, it looks so good. And that would suck. So now what we gotta do is we gotta get the jack, we gotta get our supplies, we gotta loosen up the back wheels, we got to get the jack under there, get the jack stands, and we're gonna get on our way with this. I jack up the camera.
I think the camera's the one that's holding the cards.
Oh, I totally thought I hit the truck. Yo, I totally thought I slammed this down. I was like, oh no. Oh, I got so sad. Slow down when you're working on a car. Okay, I'm gonna jack this guy up and get our jack stands and then I'll get back to you guys. Okay, come on guys. We're gonna go on to the other side now. Come on, let's go. Let's go loosen her up. Okay, up we go. And you gotta help it go up. But then this is how you get a workout. So this is how we do quarantine 2020. And then you want to kind of switch. So the cool part is when you go all the way back, because then you can go up and you go like this, right? And then you go like that, yeah. It's just, you got to be flexible to do this. This is why I do this job. Because, you know, you keep making sure you're stretching everything as you're going. That way you don't pull anything. I sound like I'm really serious. I am. I really am. Once the car flips over, you know you're okay. Now when placing these jack stands, make sure you're not placing them on a suspension part because you need your suspension to be fully movable and removable.
By the way guys, don't try this at home.
No, definitely, that's what we're teaching them. Definitely try this at home. Everyone right now, if they even made it this far in the video, they're like, dude, you need to have somebody there the whole time because the first whole half of this video sucked. You are so boring, Devin. Now once you have people here, it's entertaining. Thanks. Come show them where I'm putting this jack stand. I placed it right underneath this subframing here. It's actually basically the frame. So I'm placing it right there, right underneath the lower control arm because that way I can still swing this down to get that spring out. So everything else still looks pretty solid. I always like to go slow and watch where we are lining up with the stand. You don't want to go all the way down and have the stand on something that's not reliable and find out later. Okay, cool. So that one's on. Now we're gonna flip the other side. We're gonna put the jack stand over there and we'll catch you guys when we get these wheels off. So we got the wheels off, as you can clearly tell. Next, what we're gonna do is we have to get the area movable, ready to get the strut and the spring out. So for inside the trunk, we're going to get in there and remove the paneling so that we can get to the top of the strut. And we're also, once we do these individually to get this lower control arm off, we're going to be putting the jack under here. We're going to take the top off this strut first from inside the trunk. That way we can move this down and we can lower this whole piece down to be able to get this spring out, which we're also going to be taking this bolt out down here.
Can you show us what spring?
This bolt, this spring, and this will come out. We may have to loosen the bushing, but we will get to that if we have to. I think we'll be able to move this down. I'm also noticing we have this bracket back here again that's a leveler to show where the level of the car is. We're going to take that off, which will probably be a 10mm wrench on the back side of this joint right here. There's a joint right behind that. And it should only be on one side, which will be this driver's side. So we're gonna push that down to gain more space. Now we have a rivet up here where you can pop that out, and a rivet up here, up by this pocket where we can pop that out. I think we're gonna have to take this Torx off for this bracket here, because this is going right through that. So we're gonna take that off, which I'll let you know what Torx bit it is. Are we rolling or are we rolling?
We're rolling.
Oh, we're rolling, okay. 240 torque bit. And then we're also going to use this panel popper because we're fancy and we have panel poppers. With this little guy, come over in here, come here, come here, come here. We're going to do it just like that, like I did. I went in and I popped her out just like that, so now she's out. Now we're going to insert this inside the torque bits without scratching our bumper paint. And we're going to undo that. That's not the bumper paint, that's just the plastic. I sound like the guy from Monsters Inc. Oh my gosh, this is so hard, you guys. I can't even get it undone. I really can't reach from this side. Move! Move!
Dude, let's switch sides.
There we go. Holy moly. I was reaching across the whole car, y'all. Let's move. Oh, perfect. Okay, hopefully we don't have to take all this out, but I think we're gonna have to. Let's see what it does. Don't break nothing. Okay, are you just gonna stay in there? Okay. All right, let's just do that. Okay, just like that, guys. I got it slid in there. I'm gonna pull that out. That way, even if that happens, don't be alarmed. It's okay. No, I'm being serious. I'm being serious. I'm just letting them know, because then you just push it back through. Like that. Cool. So we get in there like that, and we pull down.
Oh,
I really highly recommend one of these. You can give it at Harbor Freight, just because they really do the job correctly, so that you don't damage these clips and have to get stuck with buying more. Let's open this. Take this piece out. You may not have to do all this. I'm gonna do it in my case because I've just kind of been looking at this. I have to take the bottom out. I'm just kind of seeing this. I'm gonna take this plastic piece out. Now, the top, all of the pressure things, clips are actually in where you cannot get the prior. So I have to then actually use a flat blade and be very gentle and careful that we don't break them. So you just want to pry them out. I start on the top and start to pry just a tad, just like that, and then they come out. This one came the whole clip out, which is perfect. So under here, there's 2 Phillips screws. There's a little tab to pop them up, just like that. There's a little screw right down here. Now we're gonna go in here and get this one. I am, again, just doing this to have extra precaution because I don't want to rip or bend anything. I'm gonna try to raise up on this a little bit. There we go, because that guy was stuck still. Oh, cool. So that just comes right up. And it might be underneath the trunk liner. Okay, so I just actually pulled it out from that lip. So it has a little bit of a lip that it grabs on. So now this is out. We're gonna put that right in the middle. That allows us a lot more flexibility on this whole piece, as you can see. Now we can move this all the way over. And let's take this out from the seat top. Okay, this is the top of the strut. So we pull this tube off, just like that. There it is right there. That's gonna be the bolt we're gonna be taking off. The tools we're gonna use when we take that strut up from the top, we're actually gonna use a 6mm ratchet here, and then we're going to use the 16, because the 16 takes the bolt off. We gotta hold the strut top with the 6 like this. So let's go hop in the trunk and show you guys what we're doing.
What the
Yeah. So can you see that, what I'm doing there? The 16 is down here. The 6 is going right on top of the strut like that, and we're gonna put it onto the tighten mode, and then we can loosen up the bottom bolt by putting them both together like that. Perfect, now we got that broken loose. Okay, boom, shakalaka. And then we're gonna take our little thingy here off, the little isolator. We are gonna work on these 2 bolts down here. So we have to take off this bolt here, which goes to our strut, and we have to take off this bottom huge bolt here that actually goes to lower this whole arm so we can get the spring out. It is a 21mm.
Hold on, Devin. Why are you?
We're gonna try to break it loose.
Like this. Anyways.
Oh.
So.
Holy cow. Okay. That's gonna be. We're going to have to do a couple taps on that. Hey, look, my arm has a big line on it now.
Oh.
So that way we can loosen this up. All right, we're going off. Boom. I'm going to tackle this bolt here, which is one-sided, so there is no nut on the other side. I believe that's going to be a 16 looking at it. So this is an 18mm here. I'm going to use my foot to actually pry this side because it's pretty easy to get to this angle. So I can do that.
Oh, sorry, that wasn't funny.
Woo! Damn! Quick note to get this out. We're gonna push up, up, force, up. That way we can get it out.
Woo!
There she is. Look at her. Look how slow it goes back up.
Let's show the people what you're doing, man.
The little bracket I was telling them about on the front. It's a position bracket. I am taking that same one off. Okay.
Oh,
there's a little guy. Okay, see, we have that springing action.
Oh, there you go.
Yeah, I want to be able to do that. That way we don't have to lose that area on the bottom. Now, back to this. Put the top off. Put that down here. Grab our 6mm, and we gotta grab our 60mm wrench and drop that strut again. We're going to remove the 18mm wrench from the strut, and then I'm gonna actually remove the 21mm from the lower control arm. I'm gonna try it that way and see how that goes.
Some guns like that, look at them.
Nothing whatsoever of the sort. These here are twigs. How to work out your twigs. Step 1, make sure you do not break your twigs, because it can happen at any time. You could just be like, okay, now I'm gonna with your arms.
That long one bolt. Oh, there it goes. There it is.
There's our puppy. I believe I can possibly use my foot to break it loose. Oh, that's a tight one. A wrench. Put it on the other one.
Literally, right after work, you just got dressed and just came straight to the car.
That's what you gotta do, guys. Commitment. Okay. So we were able to get that bolt off. Now we're gonna swing down this. I also loosened up here because we were having a little difficulty getting that bolt off. So I loosened the joint here, which we have to get in alignment anyway, so I'm not too worried about that. So now we got this out, and we're free falling here, just chilling. We'll do one at a time, so we'll grab one side. Oh, and oh, God.
Oh.
So this right here, this little bell, it literally is a bell. We're going to pry that down. Like that. Which will plop down in there. Oh, look at that, guys. It's already, it already lines up. Let's see how this, okay, so far we are moving. So that is good. Oh, we move fast. It's the alignment. So what we need to do, since we don't have the adjustment for the alignment, we need to loosen the top alignment bolt. So we need to loosen this right up here. Oh, no, sorry. This one down here.
Just playing.
Right. Oh, okay. Look at that. Nice and aligned.
Woo!
So, now, just like that.
Look at that.
Right inside. Put this down.
Whee!
Wonder how high I can get it if I go like this. Oh, yes!
Oh, there you go.
We did it. We found a way.
So it's top first.
We found a way. Okay, so I'm gonna put it sticker side out because it looks cool. And then we're going to thread this little guy right through there. Cool. I'm human. I mess up sometimes. And today I messed up. I didn't do anything damage-wise yet, so that's what's good. So I caught it before I was gonna go and put it in. And you guys probably already caught it. I need something right here to hold this. I did not put something in there. That's bad. We need to put something in there, of course. So I forgot to move this over from the other shock. I need this to be up there because this is what holds the shock from going all the way up. Luckily, with taking that off, that 18 right there, this can go up, turn, and come right down the side to where that comes out up there. So now, Fabio's actually going to help, and he's going to put the top on.
Finally, after like
Boom,
3 years.
like that. Now, we can go back up here, hold this, to then get this in there, just like that. I use my finger to nub it in. Perfect. So now when you look up here, this is all attached. It does have a bump stop underneath, so we don't need the one that has come on the factory shocks, but now we have that installed, and we can actually jack this back up after putting that bolt in. Now we're going to actually tighten the tops of these struts. So I have our 16 and our now Allen wrench, because it's not the same as OEM. And we're just twisting it on. We put our isolators in already, the same exact way they already came off. I don't know if this is spinning or not yet. I'm gonna put this in here just in case. We found it. It's been 2 days. It's been 2 days and we finally got it. We have like 30 minutes of video already. Oh, at least. Okay guys, so to tighten these all the way to their torque, these ones here, to their torque specs, the 21s, we're going to put pressure on this strut here until we, okay, see this? We're off the jack now, so that means that we are at basically normal weight of the car, because the car is sitting on this. So if this were the tire, it's putting all its gravity on this right now. So what we're gonna do is we're going to then tighten it up at our torque spec, because now it is set correctly. I can't ever see this one, so it's funny because I'm always trying to go right there. So grab it there. Now I'm gonna try to match the same camber that I had previously, which actually it's kind of actually at the 18. This is the 21. Okay. Now let's go do the other thing on the same thing on the other side. Come on. Now what we have to do is still attach our little lever that tells the car where the suspension is. So we just plop that in, take our little 10mm nut, and start twisting that on there. It is a little stop nut, so then we have to grab our 10mm wrench. And like I told you guys in the front, we have to put it in the back area. And then we gotta grab our socket and put that on that side. We will still need an alignment, and we will still need to see where our poke is on our camber. We gotta see what our degrees are. I put both at the 2 lines on the factory camber dial. There's probably a proper name for that. What I will do, I'm worried that if I don't undo the coils and lower it just a little bit right now, I'm gonna have to do that anyways. So I'm going to mark where they are now, and I think I'm gonna unspin them like at least 3 or 4 turns to at least get that a little bit low, and then kind of see where we're at to where we're matching the front, because the front are almost maxed out. So let's do that, see what we're looking with, get a wheel on here, kind of play with it, and see what we're gonna kind of get to where we can start finalizing this whole process and get the trunk back together too with setting dampening. So let me turn those rings, and then I'll get back to you when we put the wheel back on. It's on the floor. Right now, it can still be tweaked around, but right now it is completely level with itself. So the front fitment matches the rear fitment. So like that. And of course my battery's dying again, but like that. So let me get some more videos for you guys once we get this all nice and cambered in and everything's all set up and I get a spacer up front. Until then, thank you so much for sticking around with us. Thank him for filming and doing all the awesome stuff he did as well. And we're gonna see you tomorrow. Good morning. It's not even morning. We're on day 3. Today, it's all about adjustments. These are 5mm spacers. They're needed now on the front. Don't clear our coils. Here we go. So here we are, driver's side. We're running just a tad back here, as you can see. I also have a caliper because we're gonna measure some stuff, write it down so we can compare both sides. I have our little spacers here. They go on here. Those will be cool. They're 5mm. And then we're going to measure everything to make sure we're in here correctly inside the knuckle there. I want to measure all the spring rate, the springs up to here where the threading is. I want to make sure that everything's duplicating onto their side, because for some reason that side over there on the passenger side rubs more than this one does. And I don't know why yet, but I'm pretty sure something's off. So let's get right on into adjustments and calculations. Then we'll move on. Here's my legit chicken scratch. As you can see there, I got our spacer on here, nice and lined up. Now I'm gonna put the wheel on, and we're gonna hopefully be able to tighten it without rubbing the top and see how close we have there. The good news is this top part will move, yes, but if the wheel gets below here and I can, at least this bottom spring here, and the tire is below here, and it's far enough away, that will not move because this is stationary. This cannot move away from the wheel. The wheel will stay in this position. We just don't want to be that close because I don't want to blow out. And we're going to have to mess with camber, but we're going to have to really kind of see what's going on with this side compared to the other side because we have weird issues with that. We got the spacer on. We got it back on the ground. Good news, we have clearance now. Kind of disappointed about the spacer, especially even in the look over here. I don't know, man. I don't like it. I've got to figure something out here. Maybe different coilovers, I don't know. So I'm gonna try getting the other side to match this for now. As you guys can see on the passenger side, this is where it was rubbing quite badly. Yeah, that was me just moving the car up the driveway. I'm gonna measure some stuff on this one, figure out what's going on, and see if we have to adjust it to match the other side. We have a very interesting story here, you guys. So everything actually was really exact on with both sides. Like every measurement I took was the same. And the camber looks the same, which I also don't think would affect much on the clearance with the tire. So unless the rotors are like different thickness between the base or something's up with the tire or the rim, I don't know what else could have really leaned up on here. And now I'm gonna put the wheel back on to kind of see what's going on, but I put the spacer on, so hopefully we still clear our cylinder, but this is just our strut. Another quick note, from a while ago, I actually had these tuner BMW bolts from my 540 that I had, and I never used them. But I think I might have to use them now because with these 5mm spacers, they do not come with new bolts. And it's just a little sketchy to me because if you see in here, this only threads in from here to here. Now, once you take 5mm, which this is set at 5.02, but it's close enough, out of that equation, it almost cuts it down by half. I will actually measure thread top to thread bottom like this, which is a 26.5 basically millimeter, and these are a 22.5, which is only there to that one. I don't like that they're chrome, but I would rather be safer than sorry, because see how much actually sticks out? That's a good amount with the threads. Yeah, I think we're gonna go with those keys because I don't want the wheel to fall off. I just don't want that. When I was screwing the other side in, you feel like that many turns, and that's just not what I want to do. I didn't film all of this part because it was just really annoying to keep going, especially this driver's side here, to get the exact same measurement as of a drop between rim and fender well as the passenger side. I'm guessing there's a little more weight on the driver's side. We're probably going to play around with that as time goes by to see if it's with the fuel tank, etc. As of right now, I'm within 1 millimeter between both sides, like less than 1 millimeter. Same with the fronts. So the fronts from rim to fender are sitting right around 60. It's like 59.5 and then like 59.2 on that side, on the passenger side. And then on the rear, I have about a 55.5 on the rear left and a 55.8 on the rear right. It's the other way around. It's lower on the passenger side for some reason, on both arches. Right now, I got it looking pretty spot on, to be honest. So of course the rear, I don't know. I don't want to rub, and I don't want to rub. So right now this is sitting pretty damn nice. I wish it was a little more out, just like the front. The front is looking really good. Right now you're gonna notice though, it's kind of sticking out in the front. So if you look down, it looks like we're turned to the left. That is because our toe on both are spread out. We need to bring those toe in to be able to get our alignment correct and not rip our tread off. Very nice fitment because I'm able to turn here and then back here of course as well. The gap here on both sides is a 14.5 millimeter, so not too bad. I'm gonna recalibrate, measure again just to make sure that those didn't move. It's really coming together. I'm really liking how it looks. It's very aggressive. But this video is already so long, and I apologize, but if you waited this long and you're really into these cars, thank you so much for supporting that. I hope I can bring you guys a lot more content with a lot of different things. I still have more stuff planned with this car. I'm in my truck, etc. And I have a lot of friends who want stuff done to their cars as well that we're gonna get into. So thank you so much for sticking on this so long. I can't wait to see you guys in the next video. Thanks! Like legit just flipped his truck.